Would I be the a-hole if I told my boyfriend that his friend wants to sleep with me before he gets married? Background: I'm a 25-year-old woman and I have a 27-year-old uncle, Jimmy. When I was 19, I moved to a town for college, where my uncle lives with our older uncle. Jimmy introduced me to his childhood friends, Chad and James, who were both in their senior year at university. We all became close and they would often invite me out for fun. Over time, James expressed feelings for me and repeatedly asked me out over the next 2 years, but I consistently turned him down because I didn't feel the same way. Eventually, I met another one of their childhood friends, Carter, who was working in a different town. We hit it off, and after a year of staying in touch, we started dating. When Carter and I became official, I told James about it. And though he was initially upset, he eventually moved on and started dating someone else. Now, James is engaged, and we're all thrilled for him. Carter even plans to help organize James's bachelor party. The issue: a few days ago, while texting with James, out of nowhere, he told me I had hurt him by not reciprocating his feelings in the past. Then, shockingly, he said that before he gets married, he would like to take my first. He knows I'm saving myself for marriage. He bragged about his prowess in bed. But I declined, explaining that 1, he's getting married. 2, I'm dating his best friend, Carter. 3, I don't have feelings for him. He changed the subject after that, but I stopped responding because I was disgusted. Now, I'm torn about whether to tell my boyfriend, Carter, about this conversation. I fear that it could ruin their relationship and strain my uncle's relationships with them both, since they are all close. Would I be the a-hole if I told my boyfriend about this? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole, show him the texts. I'll definitely do that. Good on you. There is no friendship to ruin. He ruined it himself the minute he sent that text. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, but you are in a possibly dangerous situation. Due to so focused on being first, he might take advantage of you. Avoid being alone with him at any cost. Absolutely not the a-hole. James had his chance. It is not your responsibility to keep his inappropriate and disrespectful behavior a secret. Plus, if he's willing to do this to his own friend, who knows what else he's capable of? Your honesty could potentially save someone else from being hurt. Carter has been talking about his plans for James's bachelor party. Another reason I find it disgusting. Another reason to tell your boyfriend and the girl James is marrying. James will most definitely cheat on this woman. James is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and your boyfriend is oblivious. For the mini update, a little bit of update. After reading all the comments, I texted my uncle and told him all about it, as I wait for Carter to get off work, and he says he'll talk to James and that he can't believe he would do such a thing. Now for the full update. I told Carter about what happened and showed him the texts. He was furious and couldn't believe that his best friend would do such a thing, but he was glad that I told him. Carter confronted James, who initially denied everything until he was shown the screenshots. It turns out James had deleted the messages from his phone. My uncle sent the screenshots to James' fiancée, and she has decided to cancel the engagement and wedding. When she confronted James, he tried to deny it again. However, she told my uncle that she discovered he had been cheating on her after going through his phone. Apparently, James wanted to have fun one last time before being tied down. As of now, we are all going no contact with James. Thank you everyone for your advice. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend she had it coming when she kept complaining about her husband leaving for his pick-me friend? About a year ago, my husband made a friend at work, Jane, who is honestly the worst. I don't have the word count needed to explain why, but ask if you want/need to know. I met her at a work event his company had, and she introduced herself by hugging my husband's arm and saying, "It's so nice to finally meet his home wife. I'm his work wife." My husband had enough sense to push her away and announced she was in no way his wife. But after that, she essentially blamed me for wrecking her friendship with him. Apparently, they used to have lunch sometimes with colleagues, sometimes alone, and got drinks after work sometimes with colleagues, but he stopped after that. I never had to ask him to. I told him he could hang out with her if he wanted, but he said he could tell it would cause problems and it wasn't worth it. Jane started telling people I was controlling, jealous, and often bullied her when we were alone. I've never been alone with her. Recently, she met one of my friends, Kate, and Kate decided she was the nicest girl ever. I warned Kate that Jane had a pick-me vibe, but Kate started yelling that she never wanted to believe what Jane said about me. But since I immediately bad-mouthed her, everything else must be true too. This shocked me, but I didn't fight because maybe it was true? Maybe I was jealous and scared, and my dislike was just a reaction. My husband said it wasn't, and he thought I had a right to dislike her. A couple weeks ago, it got out that Jane and Kate's husband were having an affair. Kate had introduced them, despite my husband saying that she probably shouldn't. Kate blamed this on him always defending me. When Kate demanded her husband end it with Jane, he ended it with Kate instead, kicked her out of the house, and moved Jane in. Jane apparently told Kate she could use her apartment until the lease is up because they're friends. She's a housewife. Her money is her husband's and he cut her off. So I got her a hotel for the week while she disputes that. I've woken up every day to calls and texts from Kate crying about the whole thing. She kept saying she never could have guessed Jane would do this. I told her. I showed her messages Jane had sent me, and Kate just cut me off. Yesterday, I'd finally had enough, partially because Kate had practically ghosted me when I warned her about Jane and started agreeing that I was being petty. Normally, I'd always support Kate no matter what, but I felt betrayed too. And now she's back because Jane's a jerk? So I might be the a-hole here because I asked her to stop talking about it for 10 minutes so I could breathe, to talk about anything else to distract herself. She got mad. I said I understood it was bad, but it also didn't feel fair to me because I warned her. She made her own choices, and honestly had it coming for ignoring obvious red flags. Now, many of our friends are saying that was too harsh and unsupportive, but why should I sugarcoat common sense? So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I've noticed a few questions repeated in the comments, so I'll quickly try to explain. The work wife is not when I stopped liking Jane. This moment was a test of my husband's character, not hers. She should like my husband. Everyone should. He's a 12 out of 10. He's not only beautiful and kind, but he's weirdly fascinating. He looks like Chris Hemsworth, Zac Efron, and Ryan Reynolds had a beautiful angel baby who somehow has the personality of an intellectual Patrick the Star from SpongeBob. This is a weird description, but it makes so much sense when you meet him. His face and personality are so contradictory that if you talk to him online, you'd think you were being catfished. Last night at dinner, he spent 1.5 hours discussing his favorite type of rock. He's not a geologist. He doesn't have a rock collection. This is not a normal part of our conversations. I said, "Hey baby, how was your day?" And he said, "Fine. You know what my favorite type of rock is?" And that was dinner. And yet somehow I was enthralled the whole time. He is so hardworking, he's so smart, and so dedicated he'll succeed in any job he does. Everyone loves him, as they should. I'd honestly rant about him for hours. He is my favorite type of rock. But on to the main point. This man does not have social cues. That might explain the rocks, I don't know. If she had not said the actual words work wife, there's no chance he would have caught on. I'm saying this because her games were so obvious that even my beautifully ignorant husband was able to catch on. I started disliking her because of her actions, her words, and the way she talked about people and things. It was always very nasty. Kate's personality has changed drastically since spending time with her. I found out about their friendship after it had already started a while before. Kate brought Jane to book club my friends host. Kate met Jane at our Pilates studio. Jane told me my husband told her she should go there because I do. But after reading some of your comments, I think I'll actually ask him about that. I never saw Jane at Pilates, but I might not have noticed her. I switched to the 6 a.m. class after getting a new job. Jane stayed in the 8 a.m. class because she didn't want to wake up at 5 a.m. Fair. This is important. Kate and her husband have different stories about what's happening. Kate says she caught them having an affair. She demanded her husband end the affair. He said no, and said that if she didn't allow it, she needed to leave, because he wanted Jane to move in. Kate refused, so he told her to leave. Jane offered her apartment, but Kate refused. Her husband has cut off all her cards and access to the bank because she refused. Her husband says Jane is having a hard time right now due to relationship issues and wanted to stay with friends. He agreed to let her stay with them, but Kate got jealous, accused them of having an affair, and decided to leave on her own because she refused to kick Jane out during her hard time. Jane felt bad and offered to let Kate stay at her apartment until Jane feels better. Kate refused because she's entitled and is now just demanding money because she's an angry gold digger. Both stories sound fun. Neither actually have anything to do with me. Yes, has hired a lawyer, but since she refuses to divorce him as she thinks they'll work it out, and she refuses to sue or press charges that might damage their chances of getting back together, her lawyer has very few options to actually help her. Her husband is also a lawyer, but I think he does corporate law. Still, he knows what he needs to say and do to lose as little as possible if he chooses to divorce. I can try to update if anything happens, but I can't imagine much will. How long between introducing them to Kate getting kicked out? Seems like Jane is a quick worker. Where are the kids? No kids. I met Jane about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. I'm not exactly sure when Kate met Jane. I think it was 2 or 3 months after. They met at our Pilates/yoga studio. It would have been after September, because before then, me and Kate went to the 8 a.m. together and I never saw her, or noticed at least. Maybe she was there, I don't know. In September, I got my current job and the 8 a.m. class didn't work anymore. I don't know if Kate introduced Jane to her husband before I knew about their friendship. I only found out they were friends when Kate brought Jane to our book club, which I think she did in November. According to Kate, their affair might have started last May, but another friend's husband said he saw them getting breakfast on Valentine's Day. At the time, Jane had said she was helping him pick a gift for Kate. Were they actively hanging out with a husband? I can't imagine a scenario where my yoga friend would suddenly have my husband's phone number. I think they hung out all three, and I'm not that close to Jane. But I think she started dating someone over the holiday season, so I think they went on double dates. Sometime around January/February, she came to a brunch my friends like to do monthly, so we don't get too busy and lose touch. She said something about breaking up because he was abusive. She said she stayed with Kate and her husband after it ended for a few nights too. I didn't listen to a lot of what she said though, because there's absolutely no way a DV survivor would say some of the things she said. It was honestly nasty, and I think it was the last straw for a lot of my friends. Not a-hole. You warned her and she practically ended your friendship because of this. Now she wants to be your friend again, because the thing that you warned her against happened. Well, it was kinda rude, you were right. Sometimes the truth hurts and people just have to hear it bluntly. I agree. Kate is the a-hole for not believing you when you warned her. It was all her fault, OP. Not a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my best friend to sleep with her husband before he goes on his business trips if she's scared of him cheating? My 33 female husband, 35 male, and I have been married for 9 years and we have 4 kids. I've known my best friend for over a decade, and she is also married and has 2 kids. She recently confided in me that she's scared of her husband cheating when he is away at business trips. It's not a ridiculous travel schedule, at most a week per month and usually less. My husband also travels for work, anywhere between 2 and 5 times a year. I told her that if she's really that worried about him cheating, 1, communicate and get reassurances from him, and 2, have sex the night before or morning he leaves. She got angry at what I said and said that she's not going to use sex to bribe her husband to not cheat. I tried to explain that I'm not talking about bribing anybody and gave my own example that if my husband wants to cheat when he travels, he'll cheat, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. But if I make sure that we have some really good action just before he leaves, chances are he won't be looking to cheat while on his trip. She got even angrier and stormed out. I meant what I said in the best way possible. Obviously, just being the best possible partners to each other, a healthy sex life, and being emotionally present is key to avoid any sort of cheating. But I don't think I was wrong to say what I said. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Now we know why she's worried he might cheat. Yeah, they're not getting it on. She uses sex as a bribe. Right? She immediately assumes intimacy is manipulation. If she felt that way, she'd go ahead and bang him before the trip so she can get what she wants. But she doesn't want to do that. It sounds like she doesn't want to be intimate with him, but she doesn't want anyone else to sleep with him either. She's worried he'll cheat because she's given him every reason to, and she knows it. Not a-hole, but also the advice won't really make any difference unless lack of sex was a motivator for cheating, and that only usually happens if sex has been lacking from a relationship for quite a while. Cheaters tend to cheat to see if they can, for the thrill, grass is greener, just because they think they can get away with it and it feels good. All kinds of reasons, but I don't think many people cheat because they had sex last Sunday instead of yesterday. In fact, the couple of people I know who have had affairs kept sleeping with their spouse throughout. There's an old saying that goes, never send your husband out of the house horny or hungry. I don't think there is a good reason to cheat, and OP's friend probably has way more reason to suspect cheating than business trips. Not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to lend my friend money after she never paid me back? So I, 29 female, have this friend, Lisa, 28 female, has always been kinda bad with money. We've been close since college, so when she asked for a couple small loans over the years, $20 here, $50 there, I didn't think much of it. But about 6 months ago, she had this huge issue with her car breaking down and then she couldn't pay rent. She asked if I could lend her $500 to cover everything, and since she was really desperate and my friend, I helped her out. She promised she'd pay me back as soon as she could. I didn't pressure her or anything, but fast forward to now and guess what? Still not a dime back. I've reminded her a couple of times casually and each time she's like, oh, I'm just so broke this month. Next month for sure. Or I'll get you when I get paid. But like, it's been 6 months. So at this point, I just let it go and figured I'm never seeing that $500 again. Then, out of nowhere last week, she asks if she can borrow another $300 because her phone broke and she needs a new one. I straight up told her I wasn't comfortable lending her more money, especially since she hadn't paid me back from the last time. She got super defensive and was like, I thought we were friends. Why are you acting like this? I'm obviously going to pay you back. I just need more time. I wasn't rude or anything, but I told her no. I've helped her enough, and I don't want to be stuck chasing her for more money. That's when she totally lost it. She said I was being selfish, and that I was using the money to make her feel bad and act like I'm better than her. She even said I should trust her since she's my friend, and it's not like she's never going to pay me back. She then brought up how she's always been there for me emotionally when I needed someone, like that somehow cancels out the money she owes me. Now, some of our mutual friends are saying I should have just given her the $300 because she's going through a rough patch. They think I'm overreacting about the $500 and that if I really trusted her as a friend, I wouldn't make it a big deal. But like, I've already helped her and she's shown zero effort to pay me back. It's not even the money at this point, it's about being taken advantage of. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to loan her more money? Or am I being too harsh about it? I mean, if they think you're overreacting, they can just give her the $300 and pay you back for the $500. Not the a-hole. Thanks. I like your point of view on that one. Appreciate it. Amazing how others are so generous with your money. Don't lend. And if anyone has something to say about it, tell them your policy is lend, get paid back, lend, get paid back. Not lend, lend, lend. P.S. No is a complete sentence. And not the a-hole. Seems to me those mutual friends should just lend her the money. Not the a-hole. I agree on that one.